Are relationship prenups a good idea?
I say yes. I think that they're a really good idea.
Marriages are failing easily.
Fault divorce. In the old days, you used to have to say behavior, adultery, abandonment, mental and physical cruelty. Now, all you have to do is say,
it's about self-love. And when you start to really work on yourself, love yourself, know your value, know your worth, and then all of a sudden there's this awakening.
Would you sign a contract that rewards your partner when they break it? Or do you think men are just paranoid?
Oh my God, I'm officially divorced! Yes!
When a man shows you who he is, you have to believe him. When anybody shows you who they are, you have to believe them.
Like he doesn't have to pay nothing of it? Nothing?
I'm officially divorced.
Okay.
But Safari doesn't have to pay anything.
My God.
Faison Javon says, perfect example of being in it for the wrong reasons. She was happy as hell, bragging about how she's divorced and primary custodian of her kids. But her little heart broke when she found out that she wasn't going to receive the money that she thought she was. So that just shows that it has nothing to do with them kids. Them kids was a pawn in her chess game and Safari got checkmate. Lalabu says, she doesn't even sound confident in what she's saying. I call BS. That's what you get for having kids for the wrong reasons. I feel sorry for no one but the innocent babies. Khaled Ken says, she was so shocked at the fact that she is responsible for her children, with laugh cry emoji. The entitlement is crazy. So she wins custody. Woohoo! But the child support is not enough for her. The anger in her voice is as if she's entitled to everything that the man has. Even after stripping the man of his children, she wants him to fund them, and not just only them, her also. She's now telling women, giving them advice that don't pick a man that will not lavish on you when you are having a separation. In a nutshell, she's telling ladies, only marry a man that will spend a lot on you even after you people have separated. What kind of stupid advice is that?
women feel that they're entitled to alimony and men feel that they're not.
I personally don't think that marriages should have one.
So if something was to happen with you?
Plenty of women who have busted their butts for their men, they have put into that relationship. Why is it that after 5-10 years a relationship doesn't work, you're gonna throw me out of the house?
Like, just take the house from me? Would you take the house? Would you take the kids? Would you take the cars?
No, you know I'm not even that type of person.
No, I'm keeping the house, the car, I'm keeping everything. You're leaving the house.
A marriage license is a marriage license. It's not a fix-a-dude kit.
It's fine, but I don't want him, Your Honor. I don't want to be with someone like that. I want somebody that's gonna fly away with me if that's how we're gonna put this.
If we get married and then you decide to divorce me next year, then you leave with half of it, that's not fair.
But why are you already thinking about that?
Babe, it's something that I have to think about. I don't know why Danny's so surprised. The prenup's obviously something that we need to have in place. I built a business long before she even came into the picture, you know, and I have to protect that.
Ridiculous. If you have a plan B, how can you possibly expect A to work if you don't put your all into A?
Ladies, your biggest, your strongest weapon is your intuition. If somebody's handing you a contract on day one saying, if it don't work, your ass is out the door, your ass needs to be out the door on day one.
Like, to me, I feel like it'll be different if me and you started when I was 18, going through college, my college sweetheart. Oh, it wouldn't be no question. Like, nothing.
So what you're saying is I won't with you shooting in the gym?
I was gonna be a little more easier. I was.
If you have a plan B, how can you possibly expect A to work if you don't put your all into A?
You have to go into that relationship 100% committed, not thinking, okay, if it doesn't work out, this is what I'm gonna do.
My marriage was a success. I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Corey some beautiful, amazing children. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration.
So I feel like since you know that I'm not that type of person, what is it going to hurt? We spoke about prenups. Eric thought we should have one. I didn't think we should have one. I'm not against it. It's just...
I represented a husband. He worked since he's 16 years old, saving money. And He bought a house prior to getting married. He bought it the week prior to getting married. Within 3 years, that house that he had put his entire life savings into was jointly titled. He was so upset that he lost half of that house, half of his life savings.
Let me tell you something. I don't know a single person that has a prenup that ain't had to use it.
Did you know that when you get married, everybody has a prenup? Yep, the prenup is the state law that you live in. Every state has rights and obligations associated with marriage. So if you get married without drawing up your own terms and conditions, you are by default submitting to your state's prenup.
But my question is, why do we really need one?
If you want to know why men don't want to get married a second time after divorce, it's because they lose in divorce. A lot of men lose their children altogether when they are fit fathers, or they end up with 30% custody while the woman gets 70, and they also end up paying a huge amount of money in child support. Add to that, because the woman won the children, she's also getting a large percentage of their assets, much more than a 50-50 share.
You need to seek out a real estate lawyer. You have to remember that when you put the other spouse's name on the title, it gives them ownership, and they own half of the house and half of the equity.
My goal here is not to tell you that you must get or require a prenup. My goal is to get us to a place where we will not see prenup as an evil thing. If you feel you do not need a prenup, do not get one. Just don't go around shaming people who do get it, or poisoning the mind of the people who are planning to get one. In my side of the world, divorce bankruptcy is not a big issue, but it is slowly becoming one. You can actually have a court wedding here and not be destroyed by the divorce court. Whether we like it or not, by default, when you go to the government, a default prenup is signed. It is a one-sided prenup that benefits the lady. So we should not act as if both parties are entering into the marriage with neutral risks.
I don't want any of this. Take it. I'm out. I think if you have a prenup or if you have some sort of contract, you're already going into the relationship with an expiration date. You're thinking, I'm gonna break up with you.
If a lady feels a man should not protect himself before getting into a marriage, then the man has the right to feel that the woman should not get protection from the government before she gets married. You see that both of these cases don't really make much sense. What should make sense is that both of them should be seeking the protection of each and every person in the marriage. I, on the other hand, believe that both parties should be protected before the marriage. And most of all, the marriage should be protected above both parties. We should never forget that we are human, and life situations can cause us to change our minds, our worldview, and different kind of things. Opinions change, mindsets change.
What's the most humbling experience you've ever had?
Without a question, that would be waking up in the hospital after being married 28 years and your wife's gone. She's run off with another man. I was in there for back surgery. I went from having a house on the golf course, a house at the beach, at Gulf Shores, to no house at all.
Many men are entering into marriage with the fear that if they ever get divorced, they will lose everything that they have. You say their fear is unreasonable, but would you blame them? They are scared because they know they are entering into a marriage where they are not equally negatively affected when a divorce happens. If they enter into marriage knowing that both of them are equally negatively affected if a divorce ever happens, then they will enter with more confidence. He will enter into the marriage knowing his wife is equally invested in the risk that both of them are putting into the marriage. That is, his risk investment is equal to her risk investment. Our mothers and grandmothers knew that if their marriage do not work, children will suffer and there will be no safety net. So they stuck around and made it work. They equally invested in the risks as their husband. All this to say, I'm not telling you to stay inside a physically abusive marriage. I'm saying discomfort is not a good reason to leave a marriage, especially if the person taking the bigger blow for the separation is the man. For the men who have had the benefit of a good woman, but for some reason, both parties decided to separate, and this woman put her life on pause in order to grow the family empire, then this woman deserves 50% of the family wealth. All of these things can be agreed upon in a prenup before a marriage. In my own opinion, I'll just keep the government out of marriage. Let the church and the tribe be the certifier of marriage. If your intended spouse insists that you sign a marriage contract with the government, then do it properly and have an agreement with your spouse through the government. And that is what a prenup is. Protecting yourself and your spouse. Divorce is usually messy, and God hates divorce. Whatever we can do to make our marriages work, we must do it. That involves removing all the benefits and cushions of divorce for both parties. That is to say, you should make agreements between both of you that will make it more beneficial for you to stay together than to separate. If you are confused and you have given up hope, please do not lose hope on marriage. I'm talking to the men. To the young men, if you are willing to get married, please don't lose hope. If you choose to protect both you and your spouse by making divorce not beneficial for both parties, that is, both of you are equally invested and there is equal loss based on contribution or other factors, then there is hope for your family. Marriages can never work with human will alone, but by the strength that the Lord graces us. Nothing we do will guarantee the success of our marriage. Our job is to be wise and to use the means that God has blessed us with. For some, it is without prenup, but for others, it is with prenup. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos. Share the video to someone who needs it. Christ willing, I will see you guys and gals later. Bye-bye.